Hello, everyone. It's me again. Welcome back. My name is Leith Dewis, and welcome to 2I Scene, where we'll be discussing everything about the Aboriginal and Torres Strait cultures. And we hope that you see it not through just your lens, but through the lens of others. So, 2I Scene is that we see life through a black lens and a white lens, and hopefully, we all can come to a better understanding about each other. So, this is here today is that, like I said, I keep saying every video, this is all new to me. And today we'll be talking about, this is episode 10, and we'll be talking specifically about the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flags. And the reason why I want to discuss this in this video is that it's also recently over the years become a matter of contention amongst the broader community of why there's the flags, why these flags fly on government buildings, why we have them in Parliament, why we have them here, they're rah, 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 rah. So we have the flags are is our identity, or part of who we are and a part of our identity. It represents Aboriginal people, and the Torres Strait Island flag obviously represents the Torres Strait Islander communities and my island home up there. And I'm lucky of being of both Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander heritage that I grew up in both cultures and have a lived experience and understanding of both cultures and the impacts on our people since colonisation, which now has caused a lot of intergenerational trauma and so on. So the flags were identity, and so we have, Uncle Harold Thomas in 1971 who designed the Aboriginal flag. Now that flag represents Aboriginal people, and I won't go into great detail about those symbols because I want you to research it and find out for yourself what those things mean. We have the Torres Strait Island flag. Young Bernard Namok in 1992 designed the Torres Strait Islander flag, and it symbolises the Torres Straits. And once again, I want you all to Google the information or go on what they call ChatGPT or whatever it is now, and do your research and find out for yourself. Don't take my word for it or believe me, but find out for yourself the backgrounds and the meaning of these flags and what they mean, and you'll have a better understanding of what they mean to Aboriginal and Torres Strait people. Now, people wonder, how can they be flying on buildings and why are they everywhere we go and all that rest of it? But in 1995, both the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island flags became official flags of Australia. No different to if you travel to all the states and territories around this country, each state has their own flag with their own symbols and the meanings of what that means for that. It's like the symbols of government. They have a meaning. They represent something. We have on our coat of arms, the government, you have the kangaroo and emu. And the symbolism around that is that those are animals that actually they can't walk backwards. And so we move forward. That's the symbolism around using those animals in our government or in our coat of arms, or what represents us when we, have international sport or anything like that. So it's no different with the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flag, that they're symbolic, they have meanings. Every colour, every shape, every image on those flags represent and mean something. And they're the identity of our people. We now have something other than the colour of our skin and our voice and our art and everything else. We have something else that represents us. So if people are questioning why, like I said, the reason why they're on government buildings and so on is because in 1995 they became official flags. We're not just flying them because Aboriginal people have protested and wanted them flying, that they're official flags. And so, governments are the ones that have made decisions about the use of those flags and so on. So that's the background of those flags and what they mean to us, that they're more than just colours, and they're just more than just shapes, etc. That they all mean something to us. And so when you see the red, black and yellow, and you see, the blues and the greens and the whites of the Torres Strait Island flag, they mean something to us. And those symbols have translated into contemporary society of what we see on our badging, what we see on government policies and programs, what we see on medical health pamphlets and advertisements and promotions, because it's symbolic of showing that, this is for Aboriginal and Torres Strait people. You are welcome here. This is for you, whatever it may be, the program may be, or so the flags are important to us because they're another part of our identity. And we see all throughout the world, every country, everywhere you go in the world, they have something that represents them, and their people and their lifestyle and their beliefs and so on, whether they be stars and so on. Now, our Southern Cross flag represents us living in the Southern Cross. And it's symbolic. It means something. You get generations of Australians, for whatever reason, they all get these Aussie flags tattooed on their shoulders and backs and arms because they're proud Aussies. Aboriginal people are no different. That and I find it interesting over the years is that we, even within our community, sometimes it can be a little bit misunderstood. So, for example, and I won't name the state or territory, but there was a community or a city or a state where they built a commemorative space for our Indigenous veterans, our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander veterans that fought in all of our conflicts. And we'll get into that in another future video. We'll talk about military history and the contributions that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people have made throughout history. As we've participated in every conflict that Australia has been in, and peacekeeping exercises from the very first war, the Boer War, to present day conflicts. Now, one of our states built a commemorative space site for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander veterans. Now, the people of that community, they didn't want the Australian flag. They only wanted the Aboriginal flag flown at this site. So all the local people got together, all the traditional owners and all the community got together, and they had this big infight about that. What was interesting is there were those obviously who were veterans that participated in the design of this sacred place, this commemorative site. And they said, oh, well, we can't just have the Aboriginal flag. We need to have the Australian flag. And there was a big infighting about it. And they were like, no, this is for Aboriginal people. They were like, well, you don't have to tell us. We're the veterans. We served. And what was interesting is that the veterans, their view was, well, yes, we have an Aboriginal flag and we have a Torres Strait Islander flag. We're very, very proud of those flags because of who we are culturally. But we fought under the Australian flag. They took pride in that, is that we actually fought under the Australian flag and not the Aboriginal flag. And yes, we're proud, as we said, we're proud of our flag that represent us as a First Nations people, etc. But we fought under the Australian flag. So I think that dialogue and that situation is very, very interesting, that we've seen two sides and what the flags meant to them and mean to them. And so these ongoing arguments we have today in society that, people are stirring things up and they want to change the narrative and they want to turn people against each other. At the end of the day, the flags mean something to someone somewhere. And it's not even about the flags. I mean, I don't even know what the issue is making it about the flags. That it should be about more than just the flag. That all they see is their view is that I'm Australian. Everyone that comes in needs to be Australian. They need to stop worshipping what they worship, doing what they're doing. The same thing that they try to do with my people is make them assimilate. If you don't fit in, F off, all this sort of rubbish. If you don't like it here in Australia, if you don't like our principles and beliefs and lifestyle, go home. Some people don't have a home to go to because they come from a war-torn country, or, if they return, they'd be put to death, or whatever the case is. And this is their home. They have children that have been born here. They have ties here. They work here. They pay their taxes. They do all that sort of stuff. So it's silly. I find this argument about the flags and where it should be flown and all that sort of stuff and who it represents and so on is that, we have symbols every day that represent us. People wear different footy uniforms. They go to a game and they'll wear the colours and the uniform of their footy team. Whatever it is, they'll wear it for their AFL team. They'll wear uniform for their basketball team or netball team or soccer team or whatever. These are symbols that represent something to somebody. And society is getting caught up in this argument about the flags themselves and where they're flowing and why they're flowing, and it's not right and right. I mean, that's just demonstrating that we have a diverse society and doing something small to acknowledge the wrongs that happen to my people. And we're not asking you to wear the Aboriginal colours or wear the Torres Strait colours or embrace it and all that sort of stuff or get a tattoo of the Aboriginal flag or Torres Strait flag. We're just saying, well, this is a representation of us. We've followed your rules and your laws, and they've now become official flags of this country. And it's the governments that have chosen to fly and represent people and so on, or represent a section of the community. But people are blaming all Aboriginal people, thinking that we're the ones that are pushing this and that we're the ones that have said, fly the flag in every government agency or wherever, whatever the case is, or see it on TV or see it on uniforms. And there's that ignorance around it. And it's only a flag. And it also, people don't see that the positiveness in the conversation is if someone internationally saw a news report or something on YouTube or whatever, and they saw government officials talking and there's the Australian flag and the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flag, that sparks a discussion where people say, every time I see this thing on Australia, I understand, I get the Australian flag, but what are those other two flags? And it makes them do their research. It makes them find out of what those flags are. And it's a good thing. But yet we're stuck on this thing that, one thing should represent all of us, but that's not the real world. That's not real life. We have our clothes that we wear that represent what country we come from. We have uniforms in sport that represent what team we play for. We have Australia uniform when we play internationally. There's all these symbols that we have. And the flags are just another representation of our identity as Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Just like the coat of arms is a symbol of Australia when we go internationally or play sport internationally or whatever it is. And we can have a conversation around that and that uniqueness of, mate, they've got a kangaroo and an emu, and everyone knows about the emus and the kangaroos in this country, and they go extension of that about the deadly snakes and the crocodiles and the dangerous spiders and all the rest of it. But it's always sparks interest, and people are proud. Others are proud of Australia using those as their symbols to represent this country. So once again, it's no different. These things, we're not trying to convert you into believing something. We're showing you that this is who we are. This is our identity. It was designed by those individuals to show us and to show the world who we are and be proud in it. When I travel around Northern Australia and when back in the day when I go home for holidays and I'd see people wearing Aboriginal t-shirts and Torres Strait Islander t-shirts everywhere all around North Queensland because there's a high population of First Nations people running around. But now I see it everywhere. Like I said earlier, I see it on medical uniforms, on other types of uniforms and education uniforms where people are educators. And it's some sort of program, in First Nations program, and they use it as a representation of who they're working for and who they're working with, and whether they're white, black, whatever, they're proud to wear those uniforms. They're proud to wear those symbols. And those flags because they identify as, although I'm a non-Indigenous person, I work in Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander medical health system. I'm a health worker, and they're proud of that. And that's those symbols also provide a safe space for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, that they acknowledge it, they recognise it. Oh yeah, that must be an Aboriginal medical service because it's got our flag on the door and the Torres Strait Island flag on the door, and we'll come out and they've got that uniform with the flags on it and all that sort of stuff. So it also is an indicator of something safe for our people, that they can go, that they don't have to be afraid of going to the doctor or the medical service or whatever it is, because they can now see visually that there's a place for them there, that they can access those things, and there are people there that are going to help them, whether they're First Nations people or not, that there are people there. So they're just indicators and showing people of not only who they are, but where they can go and where they'll be accepted. And it's sad that we have to do that, but we've done it. The young Bernard Namok, who designed the flag, sadly passed away many years ago, and at his grave in Thursday Island, in Wyburn, in Thursday Island, there's a flagpole that flies the Torres Strait Island flag in remembrance and commemorative, and remembering him as the designer of our flag, which I think is a nice thing. And obviously, for those who don't know, when they go exploring Wyburn, and they go past the cemetery or go into the cemetery as part of their visit, they'll ask the question, oh, well, how come that there's a flag there? And then someone can share the history around it. It's a nice, historical information that people can learn about. So these things are embedded in our culture. And I will say, if for any reason there were ways or there was a process where they thought that they can, you can remove Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flag from every building, every government agency building, all that sort of stuff. But the culture's still going to exist. Yes, it's our identity, but it's not all of our identity. We're suddenly not going to go away because the flags go away or are removed. We're still going to exist. We're still going to be participating. We're still going to be involved. We're still going to be part of society. So I find the arguments quite funny and a bit childish and a bit silly at times, because the culture's not going to stop because you want to remove a flag. There'll still be Aboriginal people here. So that's the background of the flags. It's part of our identity. It's become a huge part of our identity. My kids, when they, buy or purchase clothes that have Aboriginal design on it, they wear it with pride. When they go to the Aboriginal Medical Service and they get their annual, their regular checkups, and they get a Deadly Choices shirt or from the AMS, and whatever that year is, they'll have the design, on the shirt. And the kids love it. The kids, they're proud of it. And that Australia should be proud of it. Like, there's nothing to fear. Like I said, we're not trying to convert you into a new belief system or anything like that. We're just saying, here we are, and this is just another representation of we are here. We still exist here. We still, survive and thrive here. And unfortunately, that makes people uncomfortable. But if it makes you uncomfortable, that's on you, not on us. So please do your research. Look into it more about the Aboriginal flags, the meanings, those who designed it, more information about it, and you'll get a better understanding of what it means to us, just like it does the Australian flag, or, what the state flags mean, and so on. And yes, we become tribal about these things. It's like come state of origin every year, which, my family love, and anyone from Queensland and North Queensland especially, we're all big footy heads. And we follow all codes. We do play AFL up in Northern Australia, in Queensland. We do play rugby union. We do play other sports. We're very engaged in all sports, even what our wonderful girls and women play. We're very engaged in it all. And those uniforms that we represent, their team, their community, whatever, no different to our flags. So do your research, find out more about the flags, have discussions with people. I'm not saying argue with people about the flag and saying, oh, I did some research and you know what, the flag means rah, 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 and try and convert people. But there are going to be moments when we ask you to stand up for us. If someone says, oh, I don't know why they're carrying on about this flag and why Aboriginal people, you can say, oh, well, just so you know, this is what those flags mean to Aboriginal people and Torres Strait people, and educate them and show them that they've got nothing to fear. You know, we're not asking you to walk around and wrap the flag around you. That embrace it. You know, why is it a negative thing that there are symbols that represent Aboriginal people? Why are there symbols that represent Torres Strait people? What are you afraid of? So, hope this short video gives you some insight in it. Like I said, you know, do some research, find out more about it, discuss it with your family and friends. You know, because there are times that it'll come up in the community, in the workplace, or whatever. And please, you know, see it through your eyes, but see life through the eyes of someone else, and you'll soon realise that you know, there's a lot that we have in common, and there's no different. The symbols that we have in our flag is no different to the symbols we have on the Australian flag or any other flag, our team flag or whatever it is that we fly, because we identify with that group, or with that country, and so on, and it's no different here. So take care. Be safe, stay happy. Don't let the narrative make you defensive or want to fight against another group and another population. That we're all here, we're all in it together. We're all one. We're in the, you know, the human race, and you know, there's so much for us to live for, and then wasting all of our time and energy on things that really don't matter. And that we shouldn't be arguing about it. So take care, and don't forget to subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys on the next video, hopefully. So talk soon. Bye. Oh, if I can turn it off here.